Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's well at home. And wow, have we had a sunshiner today? And it's perfect timing with our discussion in tonight's edition of Blethers, because the topic is about the outdoors, activities outdoors. And tonight we're going to focus on the Scottish BSL Outdoor Activities Group. It's absolutely perfect as the weather's improving. We're nearly coming to summer. Lots of us are starting to get out the house now. So I'm delighted that we've got two special guests, both from Scotland, who are actually part of this group, and they'll let us know more about that group. I've got lots of questions for them. And we've got lots of photographs. And as always, you're more than welcome to put some questions in the chat, and I'll try and ask them for you. Or you may prefer just to sit and watch tonight's show. So, our first guest is Sophia Cumming.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hi, Sophia. Could you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Sophia and I'm from Scotland. Hi.
Lovely. And our second guest tonight is Jim Colquhoun. Hi there. Hi, Avril. Jim, could you do the same? Could you introduce yourself? Yes, my name's Jim Colquhoun and I'm from Glasgow here in Scotland. Thanks, both of you. So I know both of you are so passionate and you're involved in the outdoor activities group and you go all around Scotland. But before we get into that in detail, could I ask you maybe we should show some photographs first? You've got a Facebook page, that's correct?
Yeah.
And when did you set that up? And the photographs, when was that?
So we set it up in 2016. And first of all, actually, it was the BSL running group.
Okay.
That was its first iteration. And then it started to change a bit over time. It became the BSL running and walking group because some people said they didn't want to run, but they wanted to get involved. And they felt a bit of pressure from that word running, you know. So we
Okay.
diversified running and walking, and then we diversified into running, walking. We just changed the name altogether and call it the Scottish BSL Outdoor Activities, and that was 2016.
And are you a founder?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was one of the first coordinators, and I've been admin ever since. And it's slowly grown, the group. It's been great.
Wow. So the group started, how many? I mean, Jim, when did you join? Well, actually, Avril, it was only 2 years ago I joined. I mean, I can tell you a lot more about that later. But are you on the committee, or how many's on the committee?
There's five of us.
That's right, there's
Yeah.
5.
Sometimes 6. It goes up and down, but both Jim and
All
I are both
volunteers?
on it, and we're volunteers. Yeah, absolutely volunteers. Yeah.
Oh, well, on behalf of Scotland, thanks for setting that up. So I'd love to show our viewers your Facebook page and what it looks like. And maybe some of our deaf viewers would like to join you. So this is the Scottish BSL Outdoor Activities Facebook page. I can see that you've got over 300 members.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Wow, and is it still growing?
Yeah, and if anyone's interested in joining, we've got 3 different questions. So just to make it clear, we asked, do you sign? You know, can you use BSL? Are you deaf? I think. And do you agree to the rules of our group? Because we need to make sure that we've got some rules to keep everyone safe. So some people are a little put off by the questions, but if they're not clear to you, just get in touch with us and we'll help you with that. But there are 3 questions when you start to join. Once you've answered those 3 questions, you're in.
Okay, so once you've done that and you're in, is it just for deaf people? No, Avril, it's
Yeah.
for anyone as long as they use BSL. So if anybody wants to learn BSL, then they can come along.
What about children, deaf children, or do you take animals or? Yeah, children can come as long as they're with adults. If they're under 16, then they must be accompanied by an adult. Anybody who can sign, welcome. Dogs, yeah, as long as they're well behaved, of course. We all want to be safe. So we do make sure that people bring well
Or my
behaved dogs.
cats.
Well, why not? We haven't had one yet, but
Maybe
why
I'll
not?
bring my cats. Oh my goodness, that'll be a laugh. Thank you. So, I think my first question for you really tonight is how did you get involved in it? What was the interest? What was the passion? Well, can I let
Yeah,
Sophie answer that first, Avril?
yeah, sure. I mean, I grew up, I just, I loved walking while swimming. I think I got that from my father, actually. I think he was my role model, really. He encouraged me to go walking. I was always walking, and then I'd have a swim afterwards when I got hot and like a reward. So I think it was in my blood, really. And then started biking, kayaking, loads of outdoor activities. So I
So
think
you
it's just, what I love to do. And then I realized there wasn't anything like that around for deaf people, for sign language users. And so I sort of started finding like minds and, hearing people have lots of different groups like this that they can join. And I thought, well, why not set one up for deaf people, for the deaf community?
so just before I asked Jim, you'd mentioned that your father was a role model. Let's have a wee look at the photograph we have. Oh, we had a couple there. That was lovely. So your father, was he into all kind of sports?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He really was. I mean, I think he didn't. Well, I think education failed him, but he took his joy from sports, basketball, netball, kayaking, everything. I think, I think he learned to ski when he was 50, stand up paddle boarding when he was 60. I mean, just amazing. He was so active, really, really active.
So I suppose from you looking up, that was just natural for you and you were just maybe out all the time. Was that right?
Yeah, I moved between two homes. So when I was in the city, I would do a lot of walking, but up at my second home, that was up in the mountains, and we'd be up there, um, and you know, I think,
I suppose when I was a teenager, I just wasn't
yeah,
interested. But then as I got older, the passion came back.
Jim, what about
Jim,
you? How did you get into? Is that something that you grew up with, or how was it for you?
well, for me, I'd came to a point where I felt I'd lost everything. That was the point for me. I had no knowledge of anything about outdoors. So it was about 2 or 3 years ago. I saw that deaf people were going to Strathclyde Park, which was not far from me. So I thought I'll just join it. I'll lap around the park, a wee chat, a cup of tea. That's really good. That then started to mushroom into being every week. And then we realised we were going round and doing the same thing time and time again. And then it was a case of, we were just saying, well, when we got home, I kind of thought, I know Loch Lomond has, a walking trail. There's other places that are much more scenic. And I was struggling a wee bit, but then I did a wee bit more investigation. And then I found the Scottish BSL Outdoor Activities group, and I thought, I'm going to have a wee look at them. And as Sophia said, there is 3 questions. So I answered the questions, and straight away I get in, and my eyes were truly opened wide because Sophia was talking about and her friend about her wild swimming, and I could see them in these wetsuits, and I'm looking at all these pictures, and they're up mountains. And honestly, I was addicted. It was like a drug. I could see all the organisation and the planning and all the things. And that was it. I was hooked and I was in.
Great. And
So I
Sophia,
suppose,
so Sophia's your role model then, really, right?
do you know what? Cheers, Avril. Cheers.
Woohoo. But that's great. That's something that's getting passed out to the deaf community.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's honestly, I can't express in words or signs what it's like to immerse yourself in that countryside in the water.
It is addictive, isn't it, Jim? I mean, you start itching for more, don't you? I know what you mean.
Yeah. So do you do this at the weekend or through the week? We can actually do it Monday to Sunday, and we alternate. We just do it differently depending who's coming.
Weekends for me, or holidays, or when I've got time off, um, because I've got a family, and so it's very difficult in terms of having the time to volunteer right across the week.
But to be fair, Avril, most of the activities, the group activities are at the weekend. I'll go myself during the week because a lot of people are maybe working and things like that.
Okay, so let me ask both of you then. You set up this group, people came along. Do you have a favorite sport or a favorite activity? What's your favorite thing?
Oh, Avril, my passion it was watching Sophia and her friends doing stand-up
What is
paddleboarding.
this?
Yeah,
SUP, stand up paddleboarding.
that's the very thing. SUP for
All
short.
right.
Now, I saw that and I can remember I bought it when I started the first time, I bought this really, really wee cheap one. Do you remember Sophia? Oh,
I do.
Sophia.
It was funny.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. And I could see Sophia just standing up there, just sort of gliding on the water. And I was flailing here. So I planned that I thought I'd be better getting sort of an instructor to make sure for safety, if I get the
Yeah, you need to
correct
be safe.
gear, what the safety attachments, whatever. So I'd actually asked for some funding to get trained in stand-up paddleboarding. And honestly, I was hooked. As soon as I did it, that was me.
You was.
That was my thing.
Sophia, what's your favorite thing? Me? Oh, I've got too many to mention. I like stand-up paddleboarding, yes. I like running as well, walking. Oh, I can't say there's so many. I've been doing a lot of running lately because it's easy to do from my home. Stand-up paddleboarding, I'd rather do on a lock. I'm not so keen on doing it on the sea, just because of the tides. It can be a bit risky, and
Yeah.
I'm not confident with that. I'm not confident with the tides, so I'd rather be on a lock or something like that. And I have to travel from home to get to a lock. So, um, yeah, running, cycling, road biking. Yeah.
I suppose we're really lucky in Scotland. We've got all of the natural resources that we need, so we've got plenty of choice. So we are lucky.
Oh, too right, too
Weather's a
right.
bit dodgy, but look at today.
Yeah, but don't bother about the weather. Don't bother about the weather. I mean, you can't do. I don't do stand-up paddle boarding or while swimming in the winter, and I'll talk about that a bit later. But other things, cycling, whatever. If you live in Scotland, you get weather. It rains all year. Sometimes it's sunny, sometimes it's raining. You can't wait for the sun to come out, can you?
Do you know, Sophia's right. It's absolutely right. I mean, I love paddleboarding in the sun, particularly, if you're doing it at sunrise. And I'll show you my gear.
If you've got
So,
the right outfit, yeah.
yeah. So this is my wetsuit, and that actually prevents you getting
And you wear
cold.
that
That's good for the
in
winter.
the winter. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's a different thickness. It's
Oh,
5 mil
that's the
thick.
thickness of it. Right.
So 5 mil is
Okay.
quite thick. Now in the sun, it is absolutely gorgeous. When there's no sun and there's clouds, it gets really cold. So you're falling off the paddleboard all the time. So your body does get a lot gets cold and there's lots of wind. So when I see the sun, I am off paddleboarding.
Okay, so you've got to wait for the day, and then because it's hard to predict the weather sometimes. Yeah, absolutely. You can plan something amazing, and then when the weather comes, last minute you've got to drop it, change your plans, and you can feel a bit responsible for that. But I recommend, if you want to start doing something like this, do what Jim did and go on a course. Um, because and I would say also swimming in a loch is a lot easier than swimming in the sea. We've had funding from Scottish charities. So people who want to learn about wild swimming or anything like that, there's a great company. Yeah, wild swimming. Um, there's a great company with a fabulous woman who organises training. She's trained lots of deaf people before, and we had to laugh because she usually does all women courses, and we didn't know. I mean, apparently there's a clue in the name, but we didn't pick it up. So We planned this session, and then we turned up and the woman was like, but there are men here. It was such a laugh. Honestly, it was so funny. She was grand. She just adapted and got on with it. And we had a lovely time. And people really learned a lot about how to immerse themselves in cold water, how to stay in cold water, and how to stay close to the shore if it's cold, not go too far out. There are lots of tips that were really, really useful. And there were interpreters provided. We got interpreters, and it was great. And after that, we really felt, we could see who had been trained because of their confidence and, their ability to kind of just get on with it. It's great.
So the training, how long did it last? It was just one day, Avril.
Just a day. Yeah, just a day. I think it was was it 3 hours, Jim?
I was told that it was 2 hours. I remember at the course they said 2 hours in the water. That's it. Don't go any longer than that.
Depending on the temperature, that's right. And rivers can feel a little bit, as soon as you start to feel the chill, you've got to get out quick. It's not a thing to sort of, put up with it and stay in the water as long as you can, because hypothermia can hit really quickly and it's very dangerous. So as soon as you start to feel cold, you get out, you take your gear off, you dry, you get some warm clothing on, you eat, you drink something hot, and you eat to keep the inside of your body warm. And you need to have brought those things with you, because if you're driving home and you're cold and you haven't brought your warm clothes with you and you haven't brought your hot flask and all the rest of it. So it was really useful training. Yeah,
So important, Avril. So did you get a qualification, or what happens?
No. We were given information for our personal use and our personal knowledge. We've got funding now, so we are hoping that we can become trainers and to train other people in wild swimming and paddleboarding. So we're hoping to get actually qualified in that.
The reason is, Avril, we've got some leftover funding, and we're hoping that if we could become deaf trainers, that'd be great. So if you're not qualified, how do you research? How do you find out we're safe?
I think people have to be responsible for undertaking their own research. You can find out a lot from websites, and there's some good books as well, actually. Let me show you some books here. Things like this.
Okay. Wild Swimming in Scotland.
That's a really useful book. There's loads of information in that. Lots of safety tips. Lots of really good hints about where to go. Which places are, I've got safe parking nearby. If you're going here, notify the farmer first in case of an emergency, all that sort of thing, and little maps of where to go and some good hints on great places. So that's a really useful book.
So we'll just show it to everyone again. So Swimming Wild in Scotland.
And there's pictures on the back there. It's lovely. It's really lovely.
And
here's another one I'd recommend. Yeah, this one. Paddle Scotland, Alistair Findlay. And that's stand-up paddleboarding. And it's the same. It sort of says, which locks are suitable. Some places aren't good for paddleboarding because of, under tidal currents underneath the water. Gives you hints on what equipment, what to wear, and what to do if your paddle deflates, because they're inflatable. I don't know if you know that they look like this. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you bought them hard.
Oh no, they fold up into a little backpack, and then you kind of unfold it and inflate it. And I think it's up to 20 psi. Is it? Mine's 20 psi.
Yeah,
so
it's similar to like a tire. Yeah, I think most tires are 34 psi, but the paddleboard is 20 psi.
So you do need to pump it up, and I can tell you that's not easy. That's a workout in itself, because you do need to make sure it's fully inflated, because you don't want it to be going limp as you're paddling across the loch. So fully inflated. Some people have an electric pump, which is a bit luxury, a bit quicker.
Lazy,
yeah, saves you the sweat. Saves you the sweat.
I mean, honestly, Sophia, I think most of the population think you just carry it in your shoulders to the loch.
No. It's got a little, fold it down. You inflate it really quickly. You can deflate it really quickly and pop it in your backpack. Off you go. There are different sizes. You can buy different sizes depending on, well, your price range and what you want to get into. There are some really quite big ones. I think 15. What's yours, Jim?
Oh, wait
Mine's
a minute.
quite big.
We've got a photograph of yours, Sophia, and you can see it. Yours is really big
Yeah,
compared
we
to
can see it
mine.
in the photo. Yeah, mine's bigger because it goes further. Yeah, you can
So does
travel
it,
further with it.
is the height of the board to match your height?
So you get a small one for beginners.
Ah.
So your first one is a little wee one, and that's much cheaper until you get the hang of it. If you like it, I mean, you can hire one just to test it out. And then the larger the paddleboard, the further it will go. And also, you can take your dog with you, because you can put
Really?
provisions on your paddleboard.
Ah,
Oh, yeah, my
can
little
I
dog
take my
fits on the
cats?
paddleboard with a life jacket on, a doggy life jacket. You can buy doggy life jackets. And I've got a life jacket on, and off we go, around the
Oh,
loch.
that's
It's absolutely
lovely.
fab.
Right, I'm desperate. I'm going to do that with a cat.
Why not? Why not? But not with my dog, though. They wouldn't sit on the same board.
So, Jim, what's your boards like? Well, Avril, I started very small. I mean, I bought a very cheap one to start with. As my confidence grew, then I got better wetsuits, better sort of safety gear, the wrist guard and all that. And now I'm getting bigger and bigger boards. I've not got the biggest one yet. The one
You've got
I've
a
got
lovely one,
suits
though.
me. Yeah. And you can just deflate it and take it everywhere. And I just love it traveling all round the lochs. I'm off tomorrow to another loch because it's warm.
Lovely. Well,
Well,
we've got
let's.
some photos now of your group. So let's have a look at you all in action. I can see the size of those paddle boards now, the different sizes. That's interesting. And are they heavier? The bigger paddleboard is heavier, or yeah, when they're pumped up, they're heavy. But you can also change them to a little kind of kayak, or you can use them as a platform for fishing. So yeah, the larger ones are a little bit heavier, but they do fold down to a really carryable, manageable size. But they pump up big and they're heavy when they're inflated.
Have you ever had a situation where you've had like a wee puncture?
No,
Oh,
touch wood. No.
Avril, don't say that. Don't say that. No, it's never happened, but I bring a whistle with me just in case. You never know. So a whistle, and I've
Oh, that's
also got
important.
my phone there that has a connection straight, and it informs everybody where in my family my GPS location. So as soon as I go out, I always turn my watch on so that the family can track. It's really important, Avril.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
trackers are pretty
honestly,
important, right?
yeah, because sometimes it's a solitary thing. And, I could be there and my own, and I like being on my own, and I know it's my responsibility, so I do take all these checks beforehand.
Yeah, I usually don't go by myself. I usually go with like my partner or somebody else, or and I prefer, the locks, because the locks are kind of, you can't escape from a lock, can you? I wouldn't go out on the sea, because you often see on the news people who've kind of got caught in tides and currents and been pulled out to sea, and yeah, I wouldn't risk that.
I mean, I'll tell you, it happened to me, and I was out, and then fog came, and I just had to just be, I was using my phone, um, and I couldn't see a thing. I couldn't see in front of me. I was trying to sort of get my navigations, and the battery just seemed to die all of a sudden. And
Ooh.
that I was in the admin committee, and I'd rather contacted some of the admin committee, and they told me to get it was a
A
Garmin,
Garmin, is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
a Garmin. It's a type of
And what's a Garmin?
technology.
Tell us what that is, Jim.
Well, what it does is it's really well known for navigations, and it's been used by lots of people who do sports, and the battery power in it is huge. It's got like about 50 hertz or
Oh,
something.
okay.
So that's the sort of thing that you would buy to keep you safe, so you don't need to worry
Yeah,
about
and it
your
has
battery
built-in
running dry.
GPS. has built-in GPS, so it's fantastic for being on the water. You
That's
can
right.
have them for, walkers use them, cyclists use them. You can tie them into your watch. They're really great. Yeah, really good technology.
Well, that's good to let our audience know. So just remember, Avril, it's Garmin. You know,
Garmin. Okay, got it.
there's
Thank
lots.
you.
I mean, to
There
be
are
honest,
others. There are other companies available that do different things, but seems to be the most widely used of all the versions.
well, let's have a look at some more photographs. Lovely. It's so lovely to see so many faces. Could you tell us a wee bit about the photographs, where they were taken, what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, the first photo is at Loch Katrine. It was beautiful there. Lovely group. We all went
Was
walking.
it just
Yeah,
walking?
that was a walk. Yeah, a walking tour. Um, and there were two different routes. One took a kind of route up and over the higher
Okay.
ground, and the others took an easier route around the bottom. And then we met, had something to eat, and then walked back again.
And that's your
Yeah,
normal thing that you do?
yeah. We usually take a little picnic with us. Also, make sure we've got the right equipment with us. Make sure we've got first aid with us, that kind of thing. And it was lovely. And then we found a little cafe at the end. It was great.
The other photo, well, did you see the photo of the wild swimming? That's what Sophie was talking about, training, so the wild swimming. So,
There were loads of us. Yeah.
yeah, so there was two groups. There was a first group and a second group. That's how we had to do it, and it was fantastic. And that was in Loch Lomond. It was amazing.
And you were working in Croy or something like that, were you?
That's right. We were in Croy, and there's a person there who'd taken us and told us stories about Croy, about the Romans when they were in the Roman time.
Oh, the history. And do you usually lead, you guys, or do you always bring someone else in?
It's usually ourselves, Avril.
Yeah, we plan the event. Sometimes we'll ask other people if they'd be interested in leading us, and we try to make sure it's not just us all the time. We encourage other people to have the confidence to come forward. It's not easy to lead a group, but it seems to have worked pretty well so far.
And Sophia's right. But I noticed that when I look at sort of Facebook and like outside of our Facebook group, when I can see that they're sort of going out walking and things like that, and I'm like, come on, you're doing this. Why don't you come in and sort of maybe lead a group one day? You know these lovely routes. You know what's safe. Share your knowledge.
Work
So
together.
that's yeah. So really, our plan is that we don't want to be the gatekeepers of all that knowledge. We want that knowledge to be spread because we know that's happened in the past. So I can't remember when it was. I think it was 2 years ago. Hogmanay. We'd all met up as a group, and the group had went up to the Conic Hill Mountains. And Sophia was with, our friends, and I can remember that day I decided, look, I'm going to go the easy walk. Sophia, she needed someone to go with her. Um, so it was a case of some people went up the really hard route, but I was like, nope, I'm just going to take it nice and easy in the easy route. And then I took a wrong turn, just like that. And then I was in all this kind of forest with the trees. Do you remember, Sophia? Oh my
I
goodness.
do. It's
I didn't
terrible. Yeah.
honestly, I didn't know where I was, and I got into a panic because I was thinking, "Well, I'm responsible for people." So it was a case of, no, we go back to where we were, get out of this, and then we find out where we take the next turn. So that was a real wake up call for me as well.
And I have to applaud Jim there because he made the right decision. The right decision is always safety. Go back, retrace your steps. And I try and reinforce that to everybody who comes along. If you're lost and you're not sure where you are, retrace your steps. Do not take the risk. So that was well done. Good decision there.
I mean, I can imagine, if with things like that happening, if you've no Wi-Fi or communication, it'd be really horrible.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we'd seen other places, and I'm sure I saw the Scottish Ethnic Minority Deaf Charity members there. You're right, Avril. The group there, I wanted to come in and with our group, so we joined up, and we were so proud of them. So we took all the photographs, and do you know where we went? We went to Loch Catherine that day, and it was
Oh,
fabulous.
lovely. That's nice to see. And there's another photo as well where you see the big paddle boards. That was at Loch Morla. Yeah, Loch Morla. And it's not far from Avril, that kind of area.
Is that a
And
favourite
it's
of
a
yours?
beautiful loch. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's really lovely because you can see the cairngorms as you're
Oh,
paddling along in the
wow.
centre of the loch. Beautiful view of the cairngorms. Um, the cairngorms, yeah. So it's just gorgeous as you're paddling along, and you can see the snow on the peaks there, and it's honestly fabulous. So, if it's snow on the peaks, it's going to be cold in the water. Once that's gone, it's warmer.
Avril, I'd filmed Sophia, and you could see the mountains covered in snow and her just paddle boarding towards it. It was stunning.
Oh, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, we went on an activity weekend and stayed there. And we got up early in the morning, and there's just the still water on the loch, like the first ripples from your touch on the loch. It was just beautiful. The sunlight bouncing off the water. Gorgeous.
Oh, I mean, I'm always one for promoting Scotland. We know it's beautiful, but you're just making it
Oh,
even
it
more
is
tantalising.
stunning. Stunning.
So, what's your favourite? Oh, for me, Avril, it's Glencoe. And why do you prefer that
Oh, the
place?
Forest Park, where's that?
Yeah, now I'll tell you what, it's because you can just switch off. It's a moderate, easy walk. Can go mountains can be hard, but you can get the sort of like the tram track thing that takes you up the mountain, the carry. And I think that's been going on for what is it, about 5 years.
5 years, I'd say five
Yeah,
years. Yeah.
yeah, they've been under construction. Now it's all back. So I just love it. I mean, I know I'll just regularly go there all the time.
I love Glenmore as well. There's so much walking around there, so much running, cycling. I mean, everything is there on your doorstep. But I have another favourite as well, which is Loch Inch. Yeah,
Look
Loch
Inch.
Inch.
Oh yeah.
It's just south of Aviemore. King Craig and that area, absolutely stunning. It's smaller than some other lochs, but it's lovely. And we've had some people from the Northern Islands of Scotland come down, um, and it's nice. We can plan for them to get there. They can get there. It's really accessible for them. We had a day with them coming down south and paddle boarding, and when the weather was okay, when we were setting off, we thought, oh, it's all right, it's not great. But when we got there, it cleared. It was beautiful. We had a cafe. We were all sitting outside in the sun, chatting away. It was the most brilliant day. It was really great memories. Great memories.
Oh, it's lovely to know that somebody's got a favourite place. Could I also ask, I know that when you get involved in the sports, whichever one it is, involved in your club, I'm sure you have to pay for, equipment and,
Yeah.
clothing and things. I mean, usually sports tend to be expensive. Is that right?
Well, I think the first thing, at first, I would say buy basic first, because if you don't like the sport, you haven't wasted that much money. But I'd recommend even better than that is higher first. I mean, I bought things because I knew already that I love being in the water. But if you're not sure, then hire something, hire the kit as well as the equipment, and the sort of clothing. Um, you can hire socks, even you can hire everything, boots and the lot. And then if you like it, then you can start to gather some good quality equipment
That
and
makes
clothing.
sense. Yeah, it makes sense rather than holding all this stuff and then deciding later on you don't like it. It could be, put it on your Christmas card list. That might be the
Exactly.
thing. I'm sure you both
Exactly.
get it.
Birthdays, your birthday list. My birthday list is always outdoor stuff. Yeah.
What about you, Jim? Do you think the clothes are expensive?
Well, it can be.
Well, I suppose for me, the first time when I did the outdoor activities, I was trying my research and I knew that the shop had, the equipment. I didn't know this before, and I bought just the cheapest you could get, but had to be comfortable. And then as time went on and I progressed, I started buying extra kit, you know. Um, and to be honest, you buy one like let's show you this here just now, this suit.
Are
That's
those trousers?
trousers, yep,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
bought them
Are they waterproof then, Jim? Or what's special about them?
right, okay, they're rainproof, but if we get soaking in Scotland, it'll go through. So it's kind of rainproof, but I've had them for 2 years, Avril, and I'm still using them, so they last a long time.
So is it best to get things in like the January sales, or have you got any tips for that?
Well, to be honest, Avril, you know what it's like. You always get these things in the shops. It was £200, it's now reduced to £100. Look for the ticket sales or things like that. I mean, let me show you this. This is 2 years ago I bought this jacket, and it's a
That
good
looks good
quality
quality.
jacket.
Yeah, and it's a brand
It
name that
is,
I recognise.
and that's good for light rain. Again, not for heavy rain. I've got a different jacket that is completely waterproof, and it's not that expensive, and I've been using all of that for the last 2 or 3 years.
So buy good and it'll last. Sophia, what do you think? Yeah, when I was young and I was walking the mountains with my father, I was just wearing training shoes. I never had kind of like proper boots because they felt too hard on my feet and I didn't like them. I just liked going in my trainers. So um, it wasn't until I met my partner. My partner said, "You can't go walking in those. You need proper boots." And I was like, "Yeah, I think you're probably right." Because he's an expert walker, and so I got these boots, and they were so expensive. I was like, "Oh wow!" And I hated them. I hated them. They were too hard on my feet. I didn't like them. And then I realized everybody's feet are different. So you do what works for you. And normally in stores they have an advisor who will talk to you about what suits you best. And some of them have like fake terrain set up in the shops, and you can walk on them. I have to say, I still prefer walking in trainers even now. Um, but I do like, good trainers. They're like cross country trainers and whatever. But they suit me. They're comfortable. I like it. Um, and also I can run down as well if I want to at the end. Um,
So is your running shoes are they specific for running?
yeah, I have two different kinds of shoes. Let me show you.
Okay.
So these two, and they're
So what's the
different.
difference?
So these ones here, these got more grip. Can you see?
Yep, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've got more grip. So they're suitable for trail running, mountains. That's what I use for running up mountains. These ones, you can see it's quite thick. So this has more cushioning. And that's for like running on roads or
Ah,
running on flat, along riverbanks or whatever. But if I'm going up mountains, then it's the other pair.
right, got you.
So if you go to a training shop or a shoe shop, they'll advise you. Not all shoes are the same. Um, and they often have like a little treadmill in the shop, and they have a camera fitted on the treadmill, and they look at your gait and make sure that it doesn't tip your your
Ah,
feet inwards or prone
Sophia, I
um,
didn't even know
or
that.
outwards. Yeah, and they'll advise you. This is my jacket, just in there.
It's teeny.
It's waterproof, and that's great for running because it's light. I can just stick it on my back, and then if it starts to rain, it's nice and thin. But if I'm going up a mountain, I want something thicker. So, like Jim showed you, something that's has those kind of air pockets in, so it's a little bit padded. Um, and then you can have a waterproof layer on the top. I mean, you can do all kinds of research about the right kind of equipment and the right clothing for you, but everybody is different. So you have to kind of find out, find your own way. The Scottish Outdoor Pursuits Group doesn't advise in that way. You have to kind of do your own research, find what's comfortable for you. That's the best thing.
Or what you could do is when you're sort of walking, um, make sure that you really have proper footwear. Honestly, I can't emphasize that enough. It's key, so important.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a wee look at my sheet to see if I've covered all the questions. So, can I ask, is there a membership fee for joining?
No, it's free. It's free. Everybody is welcome. I mean, we're based in Scotland because we all live in Scotland. But if people from beyond Scotland want to join and come and travel to our activities, then they're fine. I mean, I'm a keen runner, so I do a lot of the park run sort of stuff. And I have connections with Wales and Ireland, so yeah, there's opportunities to meet up there.
Oh, I suppose some people could come on holiday and then just join the group. Oh, that's lovely. And it keeps us sort of
Absolutely.
mixed. Could I also ask, I know, Jim, that you love doing a bit of filming. I've seen your post that you put. Oh, hang on a second. Would you believe it? I've pulled a muscle. I'll need to leave my screen for a second.
Oh, he's got a drone. Jim's got the most amazing drone. I just have a normal camera, but Jim has a fantastic, drone, and he does lots of editing, and he's got the whole kit. He's
You're
got the
right, Jim.
proper
Oh, a
shaboodle.
thousand apologies, thousand.
So we were just talking about technology, and the fact that you have got, we believe, a
My
drone. Can we have a
baby.
look at that?
Oh, wait, but I have to show you the one I had before. This is my old one. Okay.
Okay.
It was okay. It was good when you sort of went to the mountains, when it was like it sort of showed you the sort of like the valleys and the glens and things like that. Um, but my baby, my favourite is my new toy.
This is your new baby, is it? Your new toy?
Yes. You're
And that's
right,
a
it's a
drone.
drone.
Wow.
It's called a Neo drone. That's the actual name. And so it follows me.
Oh,
It's
that's
amazing.
amazing, isn't it?
So let me see if you can see in the camera. Do you see there's a couple of wee buttons there? I'm not sure if it's that clear,
Okay.
but you press these buttons and it'll go round, it'll go up high, or it'll follow me or follow, and it just
It's just
glides there
following you
away.
along like a
Yep,
little pet.
it does. It does. There's no shake or nothing in it. It's completely still.
So it's got the kind of stabilizing thing you'd find on a train carriage, I suppose, has it?
You're right, Avril, it is. I mean, the new one is just dead on. Um, so for example, if you want a photograph of maybe the whole group, you know, I don't want it to come straight to me. I want to go to the middle of the group. But I found there's a way that you can actually work it from your iPhone. So what you do is you can take like a multiple photographs, but I found that out.
So you can actually kind of sign while you're walking along and the drone's catching you, and people can watch you live stream at that and join you, as it were, remotely. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. But when we're doing the paddle boarding, do you see there's the camera popping out? Um, the sun can make the water glare so much, so it becomes so shiny that you can't actually see anything. And what happens is
Oh,
the
that's
drone
interesting.
gets out of control because it loses the signal. So you can get other ones that, are pros and they're waterproof and things like that. But that's one I've got.
So, Sophia, do you have one of these GoPros or anything like that?
But I just want to say, everybody at home, that it's really easy when I'm not doing this big editing thing at home. I'm literally just sifting through the pictures that I'm putting up on Facebook.
And to be honest, Avril, I just use my phone. I take lots of pictures. I mean, I can't edit like Jim does. He's just like super fast, and I'm not. I don't do technology really.
Do you know what? It sounds like a marriage made of heaven. Tech with a
Teamwork,
bit of fitness.
teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've got 5 admin people in our group. Um, we have once a year we get together, usually after Christmas, so it's nice a social thing as well. And we chat about what we've done in the past year, and we start to plan for the year ahead. So it's usually the 5 of us who do that. Um, we've got a WhatsApp group, so we can kind of respond quite quickly if something comes up, and so far it's worked pretty well.
That's so good. And your group, I mean, the weather's changing. Wow, I can't believe it. And then before we know it, it'll be summer. So, have you got any future plans you want to share with us tonight?
We do. I'm planning to go to Balanta.
Ballater?
So that was,
Oh, got it,
yeah,
Ballater.
yeah. Um, it's kind of near Balmoral, not far from there, so quite royal.
Oh, yes. Oh, okay. And what's they got there?
They've got like a pyramid, like the Egyptian pyramids. There's a kind of small one
Really?
of there. It's quite yeah, it's a little kind of secret place, and I just found that
Wow.
out, a couple of years ago. So hopefully we're going to do a little trip up to Balata to see that. Um, and August, hopefully for a weekend. We had one last year. We're going to do another one this year, and we're hoping to head up to Morar Beach for that. And that's near Malek. Um, So Mara is really beautiful. It's got an absolutely gorgeous beach. It looks like you're abroad somewhere, it's and really shallow shelf in the sea, in the water going quite far out. So really accessible. I think we're going to plan some paddle boarding, but Jim's also got some plans as well.
Well, I'm hoping that we can do something here in our very own city, Glasgow. As you know, there is many deaf people live in Glasgow, and there's a thing in Glasgow called the Mag 11. Okay, so what
What's
it
that?
means, it stands for Magnificent 11. I think it was
Oh, I haven't
Glasgow
heard of this.
City Council that came up for it. But what it basically is, I live in my home. It's near Castlemilk, and there's a park not far away. It's a small, beautiful park. So what you do is you would go from Castlemilk to a place called Cathkin Braes, and then follow that route all the way down to another park called Lynn Park,
Oh, I love Lynn Park. That's one of my
and
favourites.
you walk by the River Cart. You then get to Kings Park. Then eventually you get to Crowfoot Park. And then you get back to Castlemilk. And
And altogether,
altogether,
how far is that?
that
Is it
walk is,
11?
yeah, it's just under 11 miles. But
Oh,
that's
that's why
right.
it's the Mag 11. Okay, because
That's
it's
it.
11 miles.
So basically, if you follow the pathway through all of the parks, you'll have done 11 miles.
And have you planned
So,
that?
well, tomorrow I'm off paddleboarding, and Friday I'm looking at Cathkin Braes. They've got quite, I mean, it's a hill, it's a wee bit steep, but I'm trying to get some more information about that. And then I'll post that on our Facebook page. But we'll definitely be having events all the time. I mean, We really,
That's good.
anybody is welcome, and also our members are more than welcome to volunteer or post something that they want to do. I mean, you don't have to have all of these technical skills. You don't need to know how to edit. Just put up a photograph, tell us where you've been, or you maybe fancy going there. Just tell us the name, the park, or a postcode, something like that, and then we can
And
arrange
people just
something.
make their own way there. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we welcome anyone.
So what do you think? You've done walking and all these different kinds of activities. If I was, interested in doing kind of litter picking, something like that, at BDA Scotland, we organised well an outdoor litter pick because we didn't like the litter in the area, and we picked up loads of stuff as we were walking. Would that be something that could be part of your outdoor activities, or what do you think of that? Yeah, I mean, I think for people who can't particularly travel, something like that, a litter pick in your local area, is fantastically therapeutic. You know, I know a lot of people are put off because they think it's dirty, but it's not. You get the equipment and, your safety gloves and all the rest of it, but you're also keeping your local environment clean. You're outdoors. Fantastic. Yeah, it'd be great.
So maybe that's something new, because you're right, Avril. What you're explaining is an outdoor activity, and that's what we're about. You know, I mean, at the weekend, we were all sort of discussing that when we were together. Some people were walking, Sophie was paddle boarding, and there was one deaf person who just wanted a solitary walk. And then we all got together. So it's all about what the individual wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And the aim of activities is really just to it's about well-being. It's really about promoting well-being. So if you feel isolated or you've never done any activity before, it's fine. Come along. You don't have to stick with the group the whole time. It's a weekend. You can do what you like, join us in the pub afterwards. It's always lovely. We have a great blether in the pub. Some people stay in tents, some people have camper vans, some people book hotels. It's really individual choice, and you can join in as much or as little as you like. But the idea is that it's to promote well-being and a kind of social gathering. There are no kind of hard and fast rules. You just come along and do what you want to do. And at the end of the day, everyone feels good, they feel rewarded, and they go home. And that's the important bit.
I mean, you know yourself that the deaf community, we're seeing more instances of mental health issues and
Yeah,
well-being. So this is something that's really positive that can actually, you know, well, it's going to avoid isolation and all the issues that
yeah,
come with loneliness. Do you know,
yeah.
you're right, Avril, and I mean, there could be somewhere in Glasgow, we've got Glasgow people, but Ayr could, in Ayr, they could set up their own group that we join in, but they're welcome to join us.
And I've just noticed the only problem is that some people have an issue with travel, and we don't have the facility to pick people up and collect people. And but we could, research. If you have somewhere local to you and you can't come to us, maybe we can come to you if you found some nice activity or some nice space near you. We're trying our best to make it accessible as possible for most people around Scotland.
And I suppose you would look at the age as well. So someone who's maybe slightly older has not done activity, maybe a lighter walk to start with.
Yeah, yeah.
Avril, in Glenmore, they're like I'm older, and they have some fantastic walks for our older people, and
Oh, yeah,
it's
and they're
stunning.
beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there is no age barrier there. You can get a bus straight there to Aviemore. You can stay in a bed and breakfast, and then there's a bus that will take you straight to Glenmore, and then everybody would meet there and then just go together. So it can be done.
It might be worth you guys thinking about contacting each deaf club and seeing if, maybe the deaf clubs could get together and organize something. Or yeah, I mean, it's about time though. But yeah, I mean, all these things take time to organize, and we've all got our own lives. We're just volunteers, but
would you believe we've only got a few minutes left? We've nearly spoke for an hour. I can't believe it. I've not had a chance to look at the chat. So I want to ask you, what would you think your strongest thing is at the stand-up paddleboarding, running? Well, for me, Avril, it's walking. An easy walk. Mountain walks, I'm not great at. I'm not that keen on it. I prefer the stand-up, the paddleboarding. That's the one I like.
So that's
What
your
about you,
favorite
Sophia?
activity, SUP and walking. I love mountain walking. I'm a mountain. I like the challenge of it. I really get into that. And triathlon. I really like a triathlon.
Can you
So
explain what
that's,
that is?
yeah, that's swimming, then cycling, then running. So you do the three activities in one race. I love that. But I
Wow.
don't meet many other deaf people doing that. So, you know, so when I'm training, it's kind of a bit lonely. You know, I like to be with a group. It's really nice. But I do like kind of doing trail running. Paddleboarding I like. Just depends a bit what my mood is, you know, what takes my fancy on the day.
Yeah. Honestly, she's always with her dog.
He's my
Always.
partner. Yeah, my little furry partner. Yeah. Sometimes I feel a bit cruel, you know, he's got his tongue hanging out and I'm like, no, come on. But yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Good companion.
So you said, I mean, is there sometimes when you're maybe feeling a bit down? Would that inspire you to go out?
I know that, yeah, inactivity can make you feel kind of down, you know, and sometimes I can find myself in that place. And if I push myself to go out for a run, I feel so much better. You know, you can't let that feeling of like, oh, that sagging feeling, that low feeling get you down. You listen to your body, you know, go out, get out, go for a run. And it really is a mood booster. And you do have to just make that first mental push to go out there and it becomes a habit.
Do you know, I forgot to mention earlier on that if anybody's sort of planning something, maybe planning to meet people somewhere, always have a plan B.
Oh,
Do you know,
that's
I should
important.
have
Yeah,
mentioned that because I've went before that I've went there to do paddleboarding and when I arrived there, I was only myself. So I had to change my plan. So always make sure you've got a plan B. If you were confident to go yourself, then fair enough. But if not, have a plan B.
yeah, that's true.
I suppose lastly, have you got any tips you want to share? I know you've shared lots tonight, but if you get anything else you want to share with our audience?
I'd just say you try it. There's no harm, is there? You're very welcome. We all sign and just answer those three questions on Facebook and join the group. Come along. Any questions, we'd be happy to kind of guide you through that. If you want to have a go at some basic things, um, we can help you with that. And as soon as you've had enough, that's fine. You know, um, this hot weather. Um, agrees with some people, but not others. But yeah, I think it's you can have a go, come back. We're flexible. We're flexible.
So I suppose your first piece of advice is join our Facebook page,
Yeah,
answer the 3 questions and get involved.
and try other Facebook groups as well. Hearing Facebook groups because I learn a lot from them. They can be really, really useful. You know, you pick up tips about safety and things. Um, I mean, I thought swimming in the beautiful green water was lovely, and then I found out from another Facebook group that that's not a good thing to swim in. So it's really useful to you keep an eye on all sorts of other Facebook groups and bring that information into our group.
Have any of yous been in a hearing group? Well, I know, there was somebody who went into it was a charity, and it was they got involved in, and they really enjoyed it. But again, it's like everything else, rules. It has to be that you have all the proper safety equipment, life jacket, and you must be able to follow the rules. And it's in Kilsyth. Kilsyth, north of Glasgow. It's a 5K walk round the river, and was an
And do you
interpreter
do that on
involved.
your own? There's no interpreter or anything? No.
Yeah, no, I was okay. I was just confident.
So if you go somewhere and there's no communication, how do you, what's the solution to that? Do you pay for interpreters? Well, we get outside funding sometimes, like we did the 2 groups for wild swimming, but it depends. I mean, there's a running club that I really want to join, but I'd be the only deaf person there and there's no interpreter. So yeah, I think that's a no.
I mean, I just want to just keep saying to deaf people, come on, join us. We can plan easy activities. We can do local activities, don't have to travel up to the north of Scotland. Oh, I've got one question that's came in from one of our viewers, and it should pop up on the screen any second now. Here it comes. It's from Emma McGowan. So Emma's asking, are you actually looking for more volunteers?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to join us with admin, yeah, we're desperate. We're always looking for more. It depends on what skills you have, Emma, what knowledge you have. I mean, obviously, we don't want to recruit the wrong people, but so far, nobody has kind of volunteered to do that sort of thing. So if you can bring something to our outdoor activities group, why not? I mean, obviously, we don't want too many people on the committee because it would get out of control. But yeah, we're open to that.
Well, Emma, if you're interested in offering your services, join the face group. They'll be
Come
delighted.
along.
We've actually passed an hour. I can't believe it. I'm checking all my questions, make sure I've got everything covered, and I think we have. I suppose the last final says over to you both. Is there anything else you'd want to add? Again, Avril, everyone's welcome. We have got something for everyone. We can do. Oh, I can see you've went a bit pinky. Well,
Yeah, I would say that as well. Everyone's welcome. If you're under 16, come with a parent or an adult. Otherwise, come along. Your own fitness is your own responsibility. We are not responsible for you. We're not first aiders, so you need to take responsibility for yourself when you do come along.
and make sure that, don't worry if you don't have any navigational skills. We teach you. There's people there that are qualified in first aid too. We'll everything we've been taught, we'll teach you too. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you get lots of people joining. Apologies about my pink screen. Good night.
Thank you.